Then when Q told me, Bob's looking down on you, of course, that did maybe give me like a little extra oomph. I was like, oh man, don't pull this on me now. Like I can't hear that now. But then at the same time, like now looking back, like as of today, thinking about that, I'm like, the funny thing is, Bob would have been like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing to yourself? Like, this is insane. Like, quit. Go home, be comfy, take a shower, order a burger and like a martini. And please, for the love of God, just go easy on your, like, he would tell me to get the hell out of there. So
Oh my gosh, this episode was wild. There was so much to go. No, I mean, it was like not even
going off of memory, Charlotte. I'm going off of memory because
I'm sure. Well, and it's like not even just you, even after, you leave, there's like everyone's losing it,
It was, everyone says that it was by far the hardest day. And then the boat challenge was by far the hardest challenge of the entire time. So at least I went out on something that I know was unilaterally and universally incredibly hard.
Yeah, wait, so what was it about that challenge that made it so difficult? Because I guess like visually some of the other ones look scarier, but this one like was physically more demanding, right?
Yeah, and I knew that the fear factor challenges were never going, I was going to push through those. I knew that I would, I did some really scary stuff on there and I was fine with it. Like, I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of water. And I just knew though, from watching season 1, 2, where they had that one where they had to push those trucks, I was like, ooh man, if there's something like that, that's gonna kick my butt. I was like, oh God, please don't let me have to do one of those. And I just knew it was like an endurance thing that was gonna get me. And that day in particularly, I was in so much pain before. What they don't show you is that you have to like, even at camp or like, when you're in your barracks and everything, like you have to run everywhere. You're not allowed to just walk anywhere. You have to run and you're on gravel. And my knees were inflamed and they were swollen and they were in so much pain. And I went to the doctor that morning and I was like, I don't think I can keep going. And I was already so emotional. I was sleep deprived. I was only sleeping 3 hours a night. I was just like falling apart. And they gave me a bunch of like Advil and they're like, here, let's see if you can push through. And it helped, but it was when you're already in pain and you're already barely able to walk. And then they're like, here, carry this 1,000-pound Zodiac boat up mountains and push it up rivers. And with you and an Olympic speed skater whose legs are like tree trunks, Tom Sandoval, who's in very, very good shape, is big man. And then Tyler Cameron, who's literally a beast of a human. It's like, and then you. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way that I was, it just pushed me to my absolute breaking point where my body was just, it was literally screaming like, you have to stop. You can't go on.
I know you, like when you talked to Lene, I was reading over and I know you said you were talking about your training and stuff like that. Cause you didn't just, you were training for this. You didn't just come out blind. I mean, when you first got out there, did that, running on treadmills and carrying, did that all come in handy pretty immediately or was it different than what you had imagined?
Yeah, I mean, it did come in handy because we did have a lot of, there was that challenge, I think it was day 2, when we were walking to that frozen lake and we were walking through these hills with our backpacks on or our Bergens on, and they're 35 pounds each. They're not like that light. And I remember being like, thank God I did all those squats and all that training because there's no way I'd be able to get through this if I didn't. And so yes, I'm sure me running uphill with my backpack on in my neighborhood before helped a lot. And now looking back, I'm like, I know I still hit my breaking point, but I was like, I could have hit it a lot sooner if I didn't do that training.
Yeah. I mean, you were like halfway through. Like you outlasted a lot of other people. Like,
Yeah, and I look at it as, now looking back, I'm like, oh man, all those challenges after looked so exciting and fun. And I wanted to do the fighting. I wanted to do the helicopter submersion in the water where you have to hold your breath. Like, I wanted to do those things. I wanted to do that, where they're traversing the ravine on the wire. Like, I was like, oh man, like those are the things I would have really thrived on, because the fear had never gotten to me. I was never going to quit because of fear. Or because of just being uncomfortable. I knew I would only give up if my body was broken or I was injured. And that's what I did.
that's what happened. I mean, those first few days, you were like pretty icy, like you were good, like you were right there. I mean, at that point, were you thinking you could last maybe the whole way through, or was it you were thinking about your knee and stuff like that?
So yeah, that last day is when those feelings started creeping in of, if I quit, I could be warm and cozy in my hotel room and sleep in a comfortable bed. And it messes with you. It really does. Because I was like, I almost tried to leave that morning. As I said, I went to the doctor and I was like, I can't do it anymore. And then I was like, nope, all right, I'm going to give it one last shot. I'm going to keep going, even though everything in my like natural, mindset and my like body is telling me to go home. Like, I'm going to keep going. But then, as I said, that's when I hit that breaking point where there was like, there's no way. And it wasn't fair to the team, even though they were trying to get me to stay, because obviously everyone's trying to be encouraging. But I knew it was bad I was literally dead weight. I was bad for the team.
I mean, afterwards, I know you were like, my legs are numb. Did you go to a medic? Right. And then you VW'd and they told you go to the medic. Did you go to the medic? And what did they say?
And I don't know, like, because I didn't see it. So
yeah,
they say, go to the medic. And then is that like the end? So they don't show me laying in the field with the medics around me.
No. Oh my gosh.
I was literally laying in the field, like convulsing and shaking. And I had like flies biting me all over my body. And I was frozen because I was soaking wet and it was freezing cold because I was in that icy river. And yeah, the medics were like coming over to me. And then, you talk to like a psychiatrist and all this stuff just to make sure you're okay. And it took me, I would say, like 24 hours to be psychologically like calmed down. And then it took me another few days after that. I mean, I couldn't really walk well for like at least a good week. My leg, and it made me worried. I was like, did I do long-term damage to my body? But then after about a week or so, I started becoming normal again. But yeah, they did. They check you out. And that's one incredible thing about this show is they do not mess around with, I mean, they have medics on staff, they have psychiatrists, like they are making sure you're okay. And I did feel very, very safe the whole time.
Oh,
it was very comfortable, but I felt safe.
And in your little segment, it was like in a confessional bit, you mentioned that, you can take like, quitting things like really personally, that like it kind of like sticks with you. Does that ring true for your time on Special Forces, or like, I don't know, like, can you give yourself a little grace since it seems so hard out there?
Yeah. And as I said, like, I don't totally, I'm hearing bits and pieces, from you.
Totally.
Just
exactly.
I knew that like quitting just to quit would not have sit well with me, but because I made a promise to myself that I would only VW if I was injured or like physically broken, and because that's what happened, I am giving myself grace, and I am, proud of myself because I really did work my ass off and really tried very, very hard. Of course, looking back, I'm like, oh, could I have dug a little deeper and maybe pushed through and just sucked it? Like Tyler at the end, he's like, just get in the boat. Like, we'll do all the work. You just get in the boat and like, we'll push you. And then I was like, but that's not fair, Mm-hmm. And part of me is like, should I have just done it and gotten through that challenge? And then I would have been fine with the other ones. But you can't beat yourself up literally about that stuff. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And there were so many other things going on, it looked like. I mean, in that moment, I saw that one of the DS, I don't remember which one, but he mentioned like Bob in that moment. He was like, you know, he's looking over you, stuff like that. I mean, how did that make you feel in the moment? Were you like grateful to hear that, or were you like, oh my God, I'm focusing on like my legs falling off? Yeah, like stuff like that, you know?
Well, so a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I was grateful for it and that I was able to see a moment of humanity from the DS. Like it was the first time that one of them like got personal, you know, and you know, that wasn't in the confessional or in the mirror room. But even though they were like yelling at us to keep going, like I could feel from both of them, from DS Billy and DSQ, that they knew that I was really giving it my all, and they were going a little bit easier on me and trying to like kind of be human to me more so than they were to Tom. Like to Tom, they were just vicious. And to me, I could sense a little bit more compassion. But then when Q told me, you know, Bob's looking down on you, of course, that did maybe give me like a little extra oomph. I was like, oh man, don't pull this on me now. Like I can't hear that now. But then at the same time, like now looking back, like as of today, thinking about that, I'm like, the funny thing is Bob would have been like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing to yourself? Like, this is insane. Like, quit. Go home, be comfy, take a shower, order a burger and like a martini. And please, for the love of God, just go easy on your, like, he would tell me to get the hell out of there. So now thinking about it, I'm like, DSQ should have maybe not used the Bob reference, because now looking back, I'm like, he would have wanted me to give up immediately.
Yeah, you're like, he would not have got to the boat, you know, the boat section.
No. He would have been like, the minute my knees hurt, he would have been like, your knees hurt, get out of there. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. I mean, you've had such a great performance these last couple episodes. I mean, has anyone from, you know, who from your life or Bob's life or anyone has reached out to commend you, being like, holy shit, I didn't know you could do that. Like, that's awesome, you know?
Thank you for that. I've had so many people, and you know, unfortunately, there are a lot of, you know, the challenges that happened where I was like, oh man, I wish they would have showed a little bit more of this, because I did a really cool thing there, and then they, you know, edited it out. But I've had so many people just reach out saying like, oh my God, you did that back dive off that boat into the pitch black water, frozen water. Like I couldn't have done that if it was warm water. You know, like I've had so many people be like, I can't believe you did that. You know, it's so brave, you know, you're such a badass. And, you know, now looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish, you know, part of me, I'm like, I wish it would have kept going. But it has been so nice to get that support from people, and everyone's just, you know, loves, I mean, it's such an incredible show, because you really do have this immense appreciation for these incredible special forces and for the, you know, men and women who actually do this for life and for a living. That just to be a part of that world for 5 minutes was such an honor. So, you know, to have had this opportunity and to see this amazing support from people in my life and just in general in the public has been really special.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, no, you totally killed it. And there's no other show like this. I really, really respect you. I mean, what's up next for you? You know, I heard you have a little podcast, you know, what are you working on now?
Yeah, so I'm very excited for my podcast. It's called Comfort Food with Kelly Rizzo. And I just recorded my first episode the other day with Katie Couric, and I have a bunch of amazing guests coming up. We'll probably be launching in November. And it's, I chat with amazing guests who everybody will know about a time, you know, these are people who have gone through something in their life, you know, and Katie lost her husband when she was the same age that I was. And that's how we bonded initially. And, you know, to have these conversations of like life, love, loss, laughter over my guests' favorite comfort food. So it's like while we're eating their favorite comfort food, to kind of make it more of a warm, inviting, you know, tasty environment. And it's something that I'm very excited about, because it's having very important conversations in a new way that I don't think has ever really been done before. So